I'll introduce the speakers that we now have, and then I'm going to explain a little bit the logistics of how this is going to work, okay? So up here on the stage we have with me, supporting the motion, we've got Huub Verhees, board member of Kempen, that's to the far left of me, and then David Miller, head of EMEA trading at Invesco, and then against the motion, we have Duncan Higgins, MD, Head of Electronic Sales at ITG, and joined by Martin Eakers at Northern Trust. So the idea of this, as I say, is an Oxford-style debate. So we have a motion, and that motion is that high-touch trading in less liquid stocks is the only future of trading. And as I said, we've got these two that are going to argue for, and these two that are going to argue against. And I will remind the four of you that you are to do that. No starting to agree with each other, okay? Now there's a prize at stake here. Each of you will receive what is in one of those blue boxes if you're in the pair that wins. It's a very exciting electronic tool. I'll leave you to guess what it might be. That sounds slightly dodgy, didn't mean that. Okay, now I've also been offered a Gucci bag if I try and give one of the pairs more time, but clearly I wouldn't do something like that. So I'm going to try and arbiter as much as I can to make sure that each pair is getting an equal amount of time to argue for or against this motion. Now we're going to start off with an opening statement from each of the pairs. I'll start with you guys as the supporters. And you'll get around about 5 minutes to do your opening statement, and then you will have 5 minutes to make your opening statement. And then we're going to move into a Q&A section. I would really invite the audience to participate here and challenge either of the pairs that we have on the views that they're making, and ask questions and try and facilitate an interesting interactive debate around this. And then we will go into a closing statement on each. Now, you should all have a green or a red card, I believe. Do you have those? I can see some cards moving around. I'm going to take that as a yes. Excellent. Okay. So when we get to the end of this, I'm going to ask you to vote. And then I'm going to not count individually, but take a rough view as to who the winner is, whether it's green or it's red, okay?
Green or red?
Yes, correct. We'll do that. Traffic light green, stop, red, okay? And so then whoever wins gets the prizes. Okay, great. So would you like to begin, please, with your opening statement?
Yeah, the reason why we think that high-touch trading in less liquid stocks is the only future of trading. Our clients, I work for a specialized boutique firm heavily focused on 4 sectors, and our clients, who are institutional clients are coming to us because of our research, because of our relationship with investors, and because of our distribution network. What those clients want when they trade with us or companies like us in mid and small cap stocks, the most important thing is that market impact is zero. That their orders are not destroying one way or the other their price. They basically are looking for the natural buyer and seller in the market. That's why they look at the IOIs, and they trust us because we have those relationships, and that's why I started with that we know where the bodies are, as people call it, that we know who are the holders of those less liquid stocks, that we know what their plans are in those stocks. If I talk about high-touch trading, personally we think it's the most direct inroad to the biggest pool of liquidity there is. The books, the funds of our clients. That is where the real liquidity is, because they are holders of the stock. Why spread the order? Yes, they can go to dark pools, yes, they can go to different crossing networks. The experience is that liquidity is always less than the potential liquidity when you talk directly to an institutional investor. Trust is very important there. And what we are trying to do is creating interest. The order is maybe not there yet if we are looking for the other side, but creating interest is very important. If you trade via dark pools, you just have to wait and hope if there's something there. And that's the reason direct accessing the biggest pool of liquidity, that's why I believe that high touch is the future. A lot of people, the worry is sometimes information leakage. And I just want to mention it. That's one of the arguments always from the other side. I think in our business you can leak information once or twice, and then it's probably over with your relationship. And in this business, when you try to deal for your client in sizable mid and small cap blocks, trust and relationship is one of the most important things. That's why I believe in high touch trading.
Just to, I don't know how long we've got, but
Yeah.
You've got 2 minutes.
okay, I don't think I'm switched on. One of the reasons that I'm very proud to support the high touch broker, like Hoof, is we're not saying that low touch isn't important nowadays, and we heard lots of arguments this morning too, and lots of demonstrations of how effective low touch trading can be. But we're talking about stocks where there are multiple days ADV, where we don't want to spread an order out over a long period of time. We're just looking for the other side, as Hoof says, to minimize market impact to get the trade done. And you need specialists in these situations to find the other side. Fund managers want to buy or sell at a certain point, and we need to have trusted experts, specialists working with us to support us and to make that happen.
Okay, thank you. Minute short there in your opening statement. Very brave, very bold. Okay, over to you two. Go for it.
Okay, thank you very much. So let's start by just understanding the statement a little bit more. And I'm going to start with a tip for everybody in the audience. If you come across an exam question where one of the words is only, always, or never, it's always or never wrong or right. I know I've just made the same mistake myself, but watch out for that one, because that's a very easy way of eliminating one of the wrong answers. So obviously this statement contains only, so maybe we could stop there. And it's clear that you'd all agree that there's space for other types of execution, but for more fun, let's carry on and discuss some other elements. You might lose your
prize if you continue in that vein, I think.
Yeah. So the other part, the point that's being made there, and I thought this was quite interesting, is that as a high-touch trader, you're looking to step away from trading anything other than illiquid. Because it says the only future of trading is trading in less liquid stocks. Whereas I think, there is scope, surely, for sales traders to add value for mid-cap and for large-cap stocks as well. And though, if anything, I would say, some of the benefits of electronic trading, of electronic crossing, can increase in the less liquid universe. So, as trading becomes less regular, as you're dealing with a wider spread and less depth, there are, greater benefits to be had from finding that block electronically. The other thing I would say, just before we talk about a little bit of data, is we're talking another word, future. The future of trading is not necessarily determined by 4 more mature individuals sitting on the stage here. And it's decided by sort of, the Nintendo generation, the gaming generation. And if they're talking to a high-touch trader on the phone, how are they going to be updating their Facebook status, looking for tonight's date or more on Tinder, at the same time as negotiating their multi-million euro transaction? It's not going to happen. They have to be electronic. A couple of things of data before I hand over to my partner. Dark pools. Low touch, high touch. Low touch is predicted by TAB. They produced some very interesting reports. Low touch is going to represent more than 40%, not of turnover, of commission paid in 2014. I mean, that's a huge step forward. I think, given the rates that people pay for electronic rather than their full service high touch, that shows you how much the market has shifted there. Activity in dart pools, pan-Europe, 8.5% if you include OTC. FTSE 250, 15%. FTSE small cap, I'm staying in the UK market, 16.5%. Now, Dutch caps. We don't need to talk about large or medium, but if we do look at small Dutch caps, they do have a lower dark percentage, so down at about 5% of the market. So perhaps Youth and his colleagues are doing something right in terms of the trading that they're doing and the way they're servicing people. But that marketplace has doubled across Europe in the last 2 years. So the trend, and therefore the future, is with dart pools, is with electronic. And before I pause, I'm just going to give you one stock example of a less liquid stock. So it's a UK name called Indus Gas, and obviously I'll give you the best example I could find. From the 1st of January to the 24th of February, on all marketplaces, on all ways of trading, OTC, with a broker, on exchange, traded touch over 100,000 shares. On the 25th of February, traded 2.9 million shares on ITG's platform, which is POSIT. And I think that is a pretty significant avenue of trading to exclude if you believe this statement and only want to stay high touch.
Okay, all I add
Martin,
in.
you've got 12 seconds.
Okay, he's used up all my time.
Do we get their minute as well?
No, get some of it. It goes Back to the Future. Call me Marty McFly from here, I think. 1985, that was the only way to trade, I suspect. What I really would say is one of the concerns about going high touch only is the information leakage. I'll leave one thought with you at this early point. If Youth makes 100 calls, okay, 95 of them might just say, thanks but no thanks, nothing on the pad today. A couple might say, yep, I'm going to talk to the fund manager, try and back to you. And the other 2 or 3 have probably got an order in the same direction as David. And guess what they're going to do is they're going to accelerate their execution procedures and get rid of the stock quickly. You're going to get the unintended consequences of going down the high touch route.
Okay, I'm earning my Gucci bag on this side at the moment, right? Very naughty. Okay, let's open it up to the audience. Who has a question to pose? I can see someone's arm moving, but I think you might be scratching your head. Aha, down on the front, our favourite.
Hello again, Dan Barnes, freelance writer. How about trading overseas? If you wanted to trade into, say, Southeast Asia, it might be very difficult and expensive for you to set up operations there. So it might be a more effective way for you to trade by trading electronically. So that would seem to go against the motion that one might want to buy, say, Malaysian stocks electronically.
Or by using a specialist, I think, by the same token. I think it's in a market, you said at the beginning, it's expensive to set up dart pools or electronic systems in other jurisdictions. If you have a specialist, we use specialists all over Europe and all over the world to find the other side. So I think in that respect, specialist situations do require specialist brokers.
It's almost more about market structure, Dan. If the market's developed enough, excuse the expression, to support an electronic market, that would be your first point of call. If there's nothing in the dart, you can't get the stuff done electronically, anonymously, without any leakage and impact, then obviously you're going to go to your local specialist.
Can I just say also, on what you said earlier about leakage from the 100 calls that are made, if we all know if we put something into POSIT or into Liquidnet or something else and you get a flash, you don't necessarily have to deal, but you've learned something straight away.
Yeah.
So you do get as much leakage on both sides. I dispute that you get a lot of leakage from the broking side at the moment, but you certainly do from the electronic side.
I think they just don't know that it's been leaked. That's the thing.
Yeah.
No, but you assume that, and that's easy.
Just because you mentioned my system, I need to. One, I would say that the information sharing in that situation is symmetric. both sides have the same information when you're using our own system. So I can't say for other systems exactly how they work. But the other side, the thing is, it's not 95 calls being made. The system makes one call to one person who has got the other side of your order, and then there's from that alert to a trade, there's probably about a 60% success rate. So I'd say that the numbers are very different.
Okay, next question. Come on, there must be some more. There we go. I think that's Mr. Squawker, isn't it?
Hi there, Chris Gregory from Squawker. So, Duncan and Martin, it sounded like when you were talking about high touch trading, you saw high touch trading as being only manual and that low touch trading was electronic and venues. Can the panel imagine a venue that might be high touch, the electronic efficient high touch trading?
Well, I think to some extent the platform that we already offer plays to that world. It's not purely automated. It has the involvement of a person to execute the order that they have on their pad. So from that perspective, I'd say, yeah, it already exists.
Yeah, I mean, both POSIT and LiquidNet, which are the two most popular buy-side venues for us to transact blocks, do involve manual intervention. I mean, you can set them up automatically, you can set up at thresholds, but the truth is, if you've got a significant block, and I think the thrust of this debate is around significant blocks rather than just a 20% of an ADV.
But I think what Chris is mentioning as well is blocks aren't always buy side. I mean, there are a significant amount of business that goes through from sell side to sell side, which need all the wheels, as far as I'm concerned. If I can't find the other side, and I'm working with a broker, I want the broker to be able to transact the block as well.
Sure.
I mean, it's not always going to be me to you.
No.
You know, sometimes we might have to deal with a bank.
Yeah.
Okay, another question from the audience? No?
Oh,
Okay.
Yep, down there.
How about him?
Hi, Alan Caskett from BTRG, and as BTRG does high and low touch, I wouldn't necessarily want to come down on either side, but I do have a question for David Miller. Bearing in mind the impressive presentation we had this morning from your colleague, Saurabh, may I ask how you might be planning to implement all the technology that Saurabh is constructing for you at Invesco?
I thought that might come up. But the important thing is, you know, I've got a team of specialists in Europe. I've got high touch specialists and I've got low touch specialists, and we deal in many different stocks in many different jurisdictions, and it's very much horses for courses. You know, we do have orders that we'll put through the algos and all the systems that we have available to us from the electronic side, but a large number of our orders do need the high touch from my traders and from the traders that we deal with, such as Who's colleagues. There's a place for both, but we're talking specifically about less liquid, high ADV orders that aren't suitable for electronic trading, and it's down to the skill of the trader to decide whether a stock or whether an order is suitable to put into an algo and work over a period of time. I mean, there are certain stocks that I would never go near an algo with. It'll take, you know, working on a 8 to 10% participation rate, it could take me weeks to get the stock unwound, and with the subsequent, you know, lack of poor performance. So I think we've also got to be clear that there are certain stocks, certain orders that suit certain strategies, and we're talking about high touch, high ADV strategy orders.
Okay, let's go into the closing statements now. So I'm going to give you each a minute and a half. Do you want to start? Huh?
I believe
No,
they start
no,
first.
no. I started, Duncan. It's your
Oh,
call.
golly, we're changing it around.
Yeah,
Move the
we started last time.
goalpost. Move the goalpost
After you,
on us,
Martin, after
on
you.
us again. Now, I'd just like to reiterate I think the key word in the motion before the House today is it's the only future of trading, and it clearly can't be the only future of trading because somebody would have to foot a trebling of my staff in my dealing room because we just clearly wouldn't be able to cope if we're not using electronic means.
had a few other things on here that looks like we're not going to have time to go through, but
Who's the best one?
the one I was going to say is about buy-side crossing networks and it being the best sales trader you'd ever deal with. So that there's not this broad publication of your orders, but on a personal level, they don't make you go drinking with it. So you don't have to go out to the early hours. There's no conflict of interest where they're trying to tempt you to their villa in the south of France. And there's no risk of that buy-side crossing network sleeping with your wife behind your back.
The arguments are getting better. The arguments are getting better.
Keep going, these are good.
So with that, I would just say the only is the key word. It's not the only future. So vote green and then come and have a green cocktail at ITG stand this afternoon. I'll be able to memorise all
I
of
think
it.
we're red.
We're red. Vote red. Vote red. I did get the right tie colour.
You see how these
Do you know
brokers
the
change their
difference
mind
between
when
buy
they
and
need to,
sell,
right?
Duncan, or not?
No. That's why I'm electronic. I had no idea on direction.
No, I think we're
Thank you.
in a slightly difficult place in that this is trade tech and it's all about electronic trading. So we're speaking from a position of slight weakness, but I think the assembled masses will understand that it's only specific less liquid stocks. And we haven't actually got, it says only, but we haven't specified exactly how small these orders are and how much a multiple of ADV they could be. So for a certain sort of stock, it's very important to use the expertise and skill. This is stocks that don't trade for weeks and weeks and weeks, and you do the odd block. That could easily be, if Hoof had found the other side, he could have done it just as well. Yeah. And we have the ability to negotiate as well, which we haven't really talked about. I know we can negotiate through electronic systems, but to have a trader-to-trader banter, if you like, through an intermediary is very important to get the right price for the client.
Last thing I want to say is, yes, the other side can dream about the future, and it's always a good thing. The facts are at the moment in the market that most of the blocks are done manually. That's a fact. The facts are that even the big exchanges, mid and small cap volumes are very, very low and still dropping. We are getting more and more orders. Please don't touch the market. Try to go direct. Depth in a lot of the vendors that Duncan mentioned is still very low. At the moment, if you want to move stock in blocks, in mid and small cap stocks, one of the ways, let's be careful, to do it is via high touch. Yes, it needs trust. Yes, it needs a relationship. But again, and that is what I want to stress again, if I call an institutional client of mine who I know is a holder of the stock, it's more liquidity, it's deeper liquidity than any other vendor, exchange, dark pool, or whatsoever. Because we know he has a stock, and we're approaching him directly. And it's not the 100 calls. That was a funny joke too, by the way. But
and he got the 10 clients.
None of my clients have ever slept with my wife. Thank you very much.
Transparency is everything, right?
Absolutely.
So
It wasn't that way round. I was talking about.
So I'm going to make a really big ask now, which is that you vote on the basis of the quality of the debate that you've heard here, as opposed to any biased view that you might have because of your role or the firm that you work for. And I'm going to be watching you very carefully to see whether you're coming at this with an agenda in advance of the discussion. Okay, so based on the quality of the debate that you've heard from our speakers up here, please vote.
Do you want to confirm which is red?
I think that's fairly decisive.
Right, Katya, now help me.
Take a photograph. That's decisive.
It's a draw.
I think this is green,
Oh,
this side,
Oh,
and I think that side looks red to me.
There's
Katya?
more people.
red is for us. Yeah.
There's about 50-50 there, and we're red.
It's clearly green.
We're home and hosed.
No,
Oh,
We're home easy.
exactly. Rob Boardman, that can't be counted.
No, that
That definitely can't be counted.
On that basis, I think we should have it.
Yeah, I think you could be right. That wasn't
It's
an
more, red,
unbiased.
it's more red than green, easily.
He should have voted.
Easy.
Oh,
No, it's not. Take a photograph.
Trade Tech official
Take-
says.
Right, hold on, I'm taking a photograph.
Have a count back.
Oh, no, there's 2 cards there now.
Yeah, it's definitely
Panoramic mode.
Upstairs, upstairs, I
how's
see
that
green.
It's in black and white.
Given that we're having to use something electronic to call the vote, I'm calling it red.
Hey!
Well done.